Hello. In this video, we're going to go over Assignment 3, Activity 3, Part A, collecting pollen soil data. So we are going to have a hello. In this video, I'm going to go over how to collect pollen soil data. Right? As you learned in your intro video, pollen soil or pollen can be trapped in soil, and the further down we dig in a soil sample, the older the soil is and the older that pollen is. And so based on that, we can actually tell if there's been ecosystem change because there may be different amounts of pollen as you move through the soil samples. So today we're going to count that. And where we're going to do this activity is in your OneNote and also on this data sheet. So the first thing you need to do is download your data sheet, and then you're going to go ahead and open it. And you're going to keep that in a split screen. So what you can do is you can go up and you can eventually split screen it. So I'm going to just downsize this. Now for those of you who cannot download, you're going to have to put this into your OneDrive and open it there. And then you might have to open up a different browser page. And the way you would do that is you would go down to your browser and you can go ahead and you can right click and you're just going to open up, and you're just going to open up a new page. And that will open up a new browser page for you. And then you can open up your document in your OneDrive. All right, so going back to so here we are. For those of you who are able to download, you're just going to open up a separate page. And then the next thing you do is you're going to go to OneNote, because that'll make it, your notebook, that'll make it very easy to do this. So you open up your notebook in class notebook. And you sign in. And where you go is, again, you find your name, and yours will be the only name there. So we'll do it in Adam this time. And you would go down to assignments, and just like that last activity, it will be underneath assignment 3, and you'll see the pollen data right there. So I'm going to get out of this and go to my version of it so that I'm not marking up Mr. Lyra's. And what will happen is you'll have this pollen data right in front of you. And the reason I want you to do this in OneNote is because now you can kind of count it and cross it off as we go. So I'm going to split my screen by clicking on the square, and I bring up my other document. I have my data table and I have my data. So what we're going to do first is just count the pollen grains from 24,000 years ago. So this is 24,000 years ago. I left off the 0. Gotta fix that. So what I need to do first is figure out what pollen it is. So I'm going to go down to my pollen data, which is down here, and I'm going to count this one right here. And the reason I'm picking this one is because it's the hardest. So I have 2 things here, so I need to find that over here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert my draw technique so I can cross them off as I go. And I'm going to pick red because that's easy to see. So I have, in this case, there's 2 pollen grains in each sample. So I have 1, 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is there any others? So I have 10. Right, so I can go back up to my data now. And that one is juniper. I go up to my data, and I record for 24,000 years ago. For juniper, the number of pollen grains is 10. Okay, then I go to my next pollen sample. In this case, all the rest of them are just singles. This is the one that has a double. So let's do this red one here, which is greasewood. And so I go ahead and I'm going to get a different color this time just for fun. So I'm going to do anything that looks like that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like it's just 5. So I have 5 greasewoods. So I go back up, record my number, greasewood 5. So that's why I want you to do this in OneNote, so you can cross this off as you go, and then you would go to your next sample, which would be right here, 7,000 years ago, and then you go to your next sample, which is over here, which is 4,000 years ago. You record those soil samples as you go through. Okay. In the next video, I will show you how to change that into a percent and then how to calculate that data. But right now, I just want you to count up these pollen grains.